12 from nursery.
I'll
Yeah.
keep an eye on the clock.
Okay.
Okay, so we're live now.
Awesome.
So today I am with Martin Kenny, the Flat Earth Universe YouTube channel. So yeah, welcome Martin and good morning. Practically the afternoon.
Indeed, yeah, we've had some issues with technology, haven't we?
We have, yes. Excited, working on a lot of exciting projects, and which we'll talk about later. But first of all, what I usually do is I like to get a little bit of background on people, if you don't mind. Like, what was you doing? What was your life like before Flat Earth, and how did you discover it?
Well, like most people, I was in the Matrix, as we like to call it. Had a job. I was a chef. I was also a wannabe entrepreneur, I guess. So I had loads of little business schemes that I was always trying to do, inventing stuff, building stuff, starting up little startup companies or businesses, or trying to at least. I was in the rat race, trying to make it, dreaming big, like we all do in the Matrix. Yeah, and just follow the crowd, I guess. But there was something inside me from a young age that always knew that there was a bit more to life than just chasing these dreams of money and fame or riches or material wealth. There was always something deeper. And religion, because I grew up in a Christian family, didn't quite tick the boxes for the answers I was looking for. So when I left home, I kind of moved away from religion, from Christianity, and got into science, started looking a bit more into what science said about the universe, about life. And that led me down the alien theories, or conspiracy theories, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, the whole aliens out there in space, and they could be down here, they visited us in the past, the Anunnaki, and all that. So for a while that entertained me, but still there was a nagging feeling in me that something just wasn't quite right. There was a bit more missing to it. Yeah, so I kept seeking. Also, another thing was, for some reason, from about the age of 10 or 11, I always had this feeling that I was going to die at the age of 33, which is really strange, and I couldn't understand it, and I don't know why. Perhaps I don't know, but I just had a feeling I was gonna die at 33. So I was a bit paranoid about that, and I spoke to my wife about it, you know, coming up to my 33rd birthday last year, and I got a bit depressed a few months prior to that. There were other things happening in my life as well. You know, I had a business I was trying to get off the ground. It wasn't working. I couldn't get the investment. Things weren't going too great at work either. You know, just things weren't right. So I was seeking. I was looking for answers, and I thought maybe it might be midlife crisis, or my wife was thinking maybe it's just a midlife crisis. Maybe I'm just depressed. Maybe it's this paranoia of me dying at the age of 33. So I had a bit of a meltdown last July, 10th of July. I had a bit of a meltdown. I sort of walked out of work. I folded my business, and I just said I'm just going to sit at home for a bit and just try and recollect and find myself and see what I want to do, because life is not making sense. So that's what I did. And so I thought, well, I'll go on the internet and just do a bit of research and find out what's happening in the world and just numb my brain, I guess. And as I was doing that, one day a video popped up on my feed on YouTube, and and it was a flat Earth video by Dave Murphy, I think the Macedonian one, and that's when things got interesting for me. So that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, interesting interview on the Macedonian television.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought the guy that did the interview was also very, very fair and open to their responses. So once you kind of came across this new knowledge, shall we call it, and you're figuring out that this place where you thought you lived isn't anything like what you've been taught. How would you say that affected you, like spiritually, mentally?
Well, obviously the video popped up, and like most people, I saw the Flat Earth title, and to be honest, I didn't even know it was a debate up until then. I kind of had a feeling, or knew-ish from school, that they were people who once believed the Earth was flat. But that's as far as I knew. I didn't know anything who these people were, what these cultures were. I just knew that there were cultures in the past that did. So when this popped up, I thought, really? I mean, is this a thing? Someone actually believes the Earth is flat? This is crazy, you know? So I thought, well, you know, I'll for a change, I'll click on it and just see what this crazy guy is saying. So I clicked on it, and I started listening to it. And after about 15 minutes in, I felt my heart palpitating. And I don't know what it was. There's just something that rang true as he was, you know, talking. I was just like, my goodness, why is this making sense? This should not be making sense. What this guy is saying should not be making sense, but it's making sense, and it sounds true. But it can't be true, obviously, because this is crazy. So I thought, well, I'll listen to the whole thing. By the time I'd finished listening to it, I was halfway a flat earther already. I was already quite open-minded at that point. You know, everything else that was going on in my life, I was sort of just seeking for anything, you know. And it just struck a chord, and I was like, wow, this is, I need to look into this. I need to look into this. So I clicked on another one of these videos. I think it was the Neil deGrasse Tyson question, I think. So I clicked on that, I listened to that, and I was like, well, I think the Earth is flat. It must be. So I then went on, Googled flat Earth, or went on YouTube, searched for flat Earth. Eric Dubay came up first. So I watched all his stuff, and I was stuck on my computer for about 2 days, just absorbing all the flat Earth information I could, just to see what everyone was saying, if there was any substance to these claims. So as I'm watching all this stuff and questioning and researching, it just became apparent to me that, you know, it's flat. It has to be flat. So in that same instant, it led me to research what else Dave Murphy was saying, because obviously he had helped me awaken to this truth, I guess. And he was talking about the veganism, the urine therapy, and I researched all that. And after about 3 or 4 days, and a very worried wife, because she could see me just going through whatever I was going through as I was watching all of this, I sat down with her and I said, I need to tell you something. So I explained that I think the Earth is flat. I'm going to become a vegan, and I'm going to go on a urine therapy diet as of tomorrow. So of course she was really confused as to what was going on, but I sort of explained as best I could. And my wife is amazing, super fantastic. She sort of got it straight away. She was like, yeah, it makes sense, and go for it. Let's see what happens, sort of thing. So the next day, which was the 5th of August, I became a vegan. I did a 20-day urine fast. And during that 20 days, I was researching the flat Earth at the same time, and researching everything else, just a new line of research. And that's when everything changed for me completely. My whole life was turned upside down, literally, overnight.
Well,
for the better.
That sounds pretty intense. but
Yeah.
also positive and uplifting, you know.
Mm.
My next question was going to be, you know, how has it changed you? But you've already answered it, you know. So,
Yeah, I mean, I
yeah,
can
well
elaborate on
done.
this because obviously I was overweight. I was about 18 stone at the time. I was really unhealthy. I had type 2 diabetes. I had high blood pressure. I was obviously depressed. So when I did the urine therapy and the vegan stuff, I think that comes first for me, because that triggered a massive change. So then that month, I lost about 2 stone straight away. I started running again. I started feeling good. I was happier. I just started having a positive outlook on life. The fact that I'd come across the truth about the earth being flat confirmed so many things, that this life that we've been told about is nothing like we've been told. You know, everything we've been told is a complete lie, and there's more to it. There's definitely more to it. So it wasn't just a conspiracy theory anymore, because the flat earth is something you can prove. It's not like aliens where you're sort of going by, oh, someone saw something and someone heard something and someone spoke to someone. There's something you can observe yourself, you can test yourself, you can prove yourself. So it's not a theory, it's something you can confirm on your own. So knowing this was like, wow, this is definitive proof that this life that we live is nothing like we're told. We're being lied to about everything. So it opened the doors to discovery about myself, discovery about the world, discovery about where we are, what are we doing here? Where are we? What is this? What's the meaning of life? So all those questions resurfaced, and it was a clean slate. And the fact that it was an organic thing, that it's something you can discover yourself. It's a personal journey. And that is something that I really looked forward to. So it was like a new beginning. So I decided I was gonna leave my corporate world and do something that I was passionate about. So I applied for jobs in helping people, basically. I got a job in a homeless shelter, cooking for homeless people. So I said I'll do that sort of part-time. I'll do other odd bits. I'm not going to be in the rat race anymore. I'm not going to be chasing money and riches and wealth. I'm going to work and earn enough to feed my family and be comfortable and be happy. But most importantly, I'm going to dedicate my life to figuring out what is going on. Where are we? What am I? What is this? This needs to be my priority in life. And that's what I've done over the last year.
Amazing. Wow. You know, you sound so passionate when you talk about it. That's like you can feel that coming through. It's quite refreshing, very refreshing, because you know the word discovery. It's like we're not allowed to use it. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to see.
Yeah.
You know, move along. Just that's something that really excites me. Because I've always had this feeling as a child that, but I just always had a feeling that out there that they were hiding maybe islands or even continents from us. So this information, it's kind of like it's triggering a memory inside of you. So
yeah.
While we're talking about research, read a lot of things about hidden lands, especially in the north. From the kind of models that interest you and that it could be, can you just explain to the viewers what the north is?
Well, about 6 months ago, I came across Devon Maggi and Quasi-Luminous, and they were talking about a vortex at the center, the North Pole. Now, at this point, I had no idea that it wasn't even something I was thinking about, you know, other lands. I was just focusing on the flat Earth. We're on a flat Earth, prove that, you know. But when this came up, again, like you're saying, you know, there's something that triggers something in you. You remember. And I think we've reincarnated millions of times. So our ancestors are actually us, you know. So everything that happens in the past, that was us doing it in different lifetimes, different incarnations. So you're right in saying that we remember when you hear something and you get that feeling of, it's just a feeling, you know, it's a feeling of just, this sounds familiar. It's because your soul is remembering that information. And that's what happened with the North Pole. And at the time they were talking about a vortex, you know, there's a vortex at the North Pole, and something kind of made sense, but I wasn't understanding the whole interdimensional vortex, flip-flop, you know, that just didn't make any sense to me. So I thought, well, I need to look into this. I need to research this because there must be some truth in it. There must be something at the North Pole. You know, where's the Aurora Borealis coming from? What is that? It must be coming from somewhere. If the Earth is flat, what's at the center? What's on the outside? So I started researching this and digging deep and meditating, and, you know, I got involved with the whole blood over intent stuff, the whole sun gazing, you know, because I decided at some point that I was going to be completely open-minded. I wasn't going to limit myself, because a lot of people do that. You know, you discover the flat Earth, and we either box ourselves again, and you say, right, now that I've discovered the Earth is flat, the Quran confirms it, so the Quran must be 100% right. Or the Bible confirms it, so the Bible must be 100% right. Or the Bhagavad Gita says it, or the Gitas, they say it, so they must be right. And then they put themselves in those boxes, and it's like, everything else doesn't matter. I'm just going to follow this one line of this one book or this one researcher. So, you know, we close our minds again. So you've opened your mind, then you've closed it again. So I thought, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be completely open-minded. I'm going to do this without any fear. There's nothing to fear now, because at the end of the day, no one knows what the hell is going on. No one knows. It's apparent. So what's the worst that can happen? As long as I'm living my life with, you know, with the right values and virtues of love and truth, then I've got nothing to fear. So I got involved with the whole blood over intent. I researched it. It made sense. The whole occult, you know, why are we taught to fear certain things? So I did that. I got in, you know, I did the sun gazing, and my life truly transformed as I did those things. You know, I began to get visions, my dreams. I didn't dream a lot, but the few dreams that I did have became very vivid. I started astral projecting. I think I did that about twice. But most importantly was my intuition. My intuition got really strong. So I get, they're not visions, they're more like an idea comes to my mind. I ask a question to myself and say, what is this? I need answers to this. And things sort of pop up, like a video would pop up, or I'll see a picture, or I'll be watching a movie and there'll be something and it'll trigger something and be like, oh my gosh, that's it. So that's what happened with the center. I think I was watching a movie or something, and I saw something, and I went, oh my goodness, there's land at the center. It's a crater continent. That's why there's the hollow earth theory. You know, that's why Admiral Byrd thought it was, and I put all the pieces together. So it's not a vortex, there's land. It's a crater, it's a continent. So I had this eureka moment. So I frantically went on the internet to search for anything to do with land at the North Pole. And lo and behold, these maps came up. These ancient maps of lands that were once at the North Pole. So that was like instant confirmation. And then I went to, I researched the Vedic scriptures, because I was really interested in that as well. And they talked about lands at the north as well. So straight away, I was like, yes, there's lands at the north. So I got in touch with Devin and other people in that community that were researching that. And that's when I released that video with Flat Earth Vortex and Devin and all the others, explaining to them that it wasn't a vortex, it was land, and this is why I thought it was land. And we got together, and that's when we sort of started researching these lands. And as we collectively started researching, we got more and more confirmation. We figured out what the names of these lands were according to the Vedic cultures, mostly. Where these lands were, who went to these lands, when they went there, what they saw there, what is there, when they started deleting these lands from maps. Yeah, so I am 100% sure, as sure as I am that the Earth is flat, I am sure that there's a 4-crater continent, the North Pole, which people call Hyperborea, or the Garden of Eden, or Agartha, all kinds of names. So
you do have a video with different maps and how you think they work and the similarities between these maps. People should check that out. I'll put a link in the description box actually for that, because that's you grow up thinking there's just one map, you know.
Yeah.
And that's it. Mind-blowing to realise that there's much more out there.
Yeah.
So we talked about the centre and 4-crater island. I've mentioned about Mount Meru. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so initially I thought Mount Meru was a tree in the Garden of Eden, like a physical tree or a mountain. We all know that all mountains used to be trees. So for a long time, up until about a couple of weeks ago, I thought it was a physical tree or a mountain at the center. But I've since come to understand that it is not a physical mountain. Mount Meru is the universe. And the pinnacle of the base of Mount Meru is at the center. This will all make sense when I release the model, the universe model that I'm currently building. But once you see it from that perspective, I think the Yggdrasil tree alludes to it. A lot of the Vedic depictions allude to it as well. So Mount Meru itself is not a freestanding tree at the center, but it's the whole universe as a whole. The Bhumandala, or the Earth, the pyramid, is the base of the tree. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So, got it over here. So if you look at this pyramid, Bhumandala, and we're here, this would be like the base of the tree, right? And then the axis mundi that comes up is the trunk of the tree. And then there are 4 concentric heavens above it, as above, so below, that are a reflection of this bottom bit.
Okay.
So when I release that model, you'll see it looks exactly like a tree. You'll see it looks like the branches, you know, with all the heavenly realms. And then that looks like the base. And then at the bottom, as the Vedic say, is the great deep, or the Gabadoka, they call it. And this is the water that the tree is sitting on. And the universe is inside an egg, a shell, like this one, cosmic shell.
Yeah, yeah.
So Mount Meru itself is the universe. And the base of where the physical lower realms and the astral higher realms meet is the center.
Okay.
Okay. I hope that makes sense. It'll make a bit more sense once you see the model and the scale and everything put together.
We should look out for that. Excellent. That was really. Did you build that yourself?
I did, yeah. I felt when I came across this Hidden Lands at the Center, I was trying to explain to people, but people quite weren't grasping it. So I thought, well, the best thing to do is I'm going to build a model. I'm going to build something physical, because when you see something physical, just confirmation for me and how it would look physically, you know, you're able to paint a better picture, and people are able to, I guess, relate to it a bit more when you see something physical. So I built that first model, which Ruben kindly touched up and helped me bring it to life. But the first one that we built was that one, with the lands at the center. And I think once you see it in, physically, it's easier to grasp, I guess, and see the bigger picture. Yeah, so I built it, and then obviously I've been working on this one with the outer lands, and now I'm currently building a full-scale model of the universe, with the stars, with all the toroidal fields, all the heavens, how it all works. And I've been working closely recently with Santos Bonacci. He's been helping me a lot because he's obviously super, super well-researched. He's probably the most well-read human being, I think, on this plane, personally.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been getting a lot of help from him. Because I think the only way, I'm not saying that this is the absolute truth, and that's exactly what it is. But I lean towards syncretism, which is something I came across through Santos, which is basically, rather than looking at one line of research like the Bible and saying, well, all the truth is in the Bible, or all the truth is in Vedic scriptures, or all the truth is in the Quran. We should look at everything, read everything, even mainstream science. There's a lot of truth in what they tell us, what NASA says. There's a lot of truth in there. So you've got to be able to absorb everything with an open and critical mind, and without judgment, without fear, and syncretize it and say, right, what are they saying? What are they saying? What are they saying? What are they saying? And then whatever is sort of correlating, whatever is similar, must be closest to the truth. So if Platonymy and the Bible and the Quran and the Gitas and the Upanishads and the Sumerian texts, if they are all saying that, the earth is flat, then it probably is flat, because they can't all have made it up. And it can't be coincidence that all these cultures and all these peoples from different timelines and different places are all saying a similar thing. And that's what syncretism is. So syncretism is taking lots of information and condensing it as much as you can. So that's what we've been doing to try and build this scale of the universe, syncretizing and putting it together.
So looking for the similarities and not the differences. Concentrating on the similarities and bringing it together and condensing it down. That's great. Have you, in your mind, formed an idea on why this information from us, why we're not allowed to know about it?
Why we're not allowed to, sorry?
I think, yeah. Why do you think it is that we're kept from this information?
I think there are many, many layers to this. There are many things happening here. And I think as human beings, sometimes we try and pinpoint to one thing and say, this is what it is, or we're looking for someone to blame and say, this person is to blame, or these people are to blame. But I think it's a lot more complex than that. There's a lot more going on. It's a lot deeper than just saying, it's this. It's many, many things. One of the things is cycle of life. We go through ages. Everything is cyclical. Everything. We wake up, we sleep. There's up, there's down. There's a trend or a cycle to everything. And the same thing goes with consciousness. So there are times when our consciousness is really low and we're asleep. And there are times where our consciousness is really high and we're awake. So we've been asleep, basically, our consciousness. We've been in the dark ages, if you want to call it that, of consciousness. Not technology or but of knowledge and of consciousness. So that's one of them. And we're now slowly awakening. We're now on the upward trend towards waking up. So that's one thing. The other thing is there are certain beings or people, possibly not from our part of the Bhumandala, from other worlds, who've known about this information, who've somehow infiltrated our system, and they've sort of been managing, if you quote unquote, the dark ages. So they've been enlightened. We call them the Illuminati sometimes. So they've been enlightened to these truths, and they've put it upon themselves to be the gatekeepers of knowledge and of wisdom. and of everything. And to basically, in a way, I think they feel they've been looking after us, in a way, and shepherding us in a twisted way, which is obviously not the case. So I think there is that as well. So there's that control mechanism. We call them all kinds of names. Some people call them the elite, or the reptilians, or the Anunnaki, whatever you want to call them. But there are these entities, or these families, or these beings that have bestowed rulership over this part of the earth, and control us, I guess.
Did they bestow this rulership over themselves, or did something or someone else bestow it upon them?
I think they've bestowed it upon themselves. Like, again, we can't pinpoint anything. You know, we'll never be able to say this is what it is. So I think there's a little bit of nature happening there. For instance, you know, during okay, let me rewind. If we go back to the cosmic egg theory, that we live in a cosmic egg, and we're all source consciousness. So if you took everything if you took every bit of consciousness on earth and you put it into one big ball, that is what we'd call source, or God. So God is all consciousness. Everything that lives is God. Everything in existence is God. So we are all fractals of the whole. We're all a tiny drop in the ocean of God, every single one of us. Now, in the cosmic egg theory, I believe that, you know, there are souls that are coming down and there are souls that are going up. So there's a highway within this cosmic egg, right? And this highway. This is the cycle of life. So there are beings that are constantly dropping in consciousness and going downwards, and there are beings that are raising in consciousness and going upwards. So somewhere we meet in the middle, and then you've got to factor in the ages as well. So these beings that rule over us, I think these are beings that are on the downward cycle. So these are the fallen angels. We talk about fallen angels. These are the beings that have come from source, have dropped down the egg, and they are on the way outwards, downwards, on the cycle of life. So they've got their consciousness is dying, yeah. And then there are beings that are coming from the lower realms and coming upwards into the higher realms. These are the shooting stars. These are the people that are ascending, the souls that are ascending. So there's a conveyor belt happening there. And this is where we are at the moment. So these people that rule over us, these people that are stuck in the material, in the physical, in fame, in money, in all these things, their souls are diminishing. Their light within them is burning out. And those of us who are seeking truth and love and looking for answers, we are the ones whose consciousness is growing. The light within us is growing. I think there's a quote that says, religious people are afraid of going to hell. Spiritual people have been to hell. So I think we can put that into context in a way that people like myself and you who are seeking truth and light and looking for answers, we are coming from the darker realms. Believe it or not, we were once these archons or these reptilians or these evil people in different incarnations. But we're now on the upward cycle. We're waking up. We're going the other way. And then there are these beings who were angels at one stage, who came down from the roof, and they're on their way out into the outer worlds, the fallen angels. So there's a lot going on. Like I said, you know, it's not something we can pinpoint and say, you know, it's this. There are different layers to it.
So interesting. I was thinking notes earlier, and I think you just basically touched on everything there. One thing that I want a word that you use a lot is inner standing. Explain why you prefer that, to use that terminology.
Yeah, I actually came across it. It was Ruben, actually. I think you did an interview with Ruben last week. It was Ruben who did the concept. You know, we were chatting one day, and he sort of mentioned that. Oh, you know, I said something about understanding, And we're talking about how words have power and how words manifest. And you know, if we're all gods and we speak things into being, then we need to be mindful of what we're saying and how we're saying things. So when you say, I understand something, you're saying you stand underneath it. You're below it. So you're lowering yourself. So you need to be standing within it. So when you say, this is what I understand, you're saying, I'm standing within this knowledge. I'm not underneath it. I'm not a subject of it. I am this, whatever I'm saying. I get it. I'm in it. So I think that is really important that, you know, we watch our words. Words are spells. That's why it's called spelling, as they say, you know, spell casting. So when I say this is what I understand, it's because it's information I'm getting from within. It's not information that is being fed down to me. It's something that's coming from within me.
We've talked about syncretism, and you mentioned Santos Bonacci, Mr. Astrotheology. In one of your videos, I can't remember which one now, but you talk about the physical versus the metaphysical, and you kind of break it down. Can you talk about that quickly for us? Because I'm not sure if you're running out of time, are you?
Yeah, no, we've still got a good 15, 20 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so there's if we're looking again at this cosmic, actually, hold on. So I've got this, it used to be a globe that I've dismantled. So if we're looking at this as the universe, and we are inside this universe, this is the cosmic egg, the shell. We are inside the shell, all right? So if you're looking at it from the outside, this would be the Bhumandala. This would be the halfway center, right? Below is the physical. Below the cosmic egg. These are the physical worlds, right? Above that, these are the etherical world, the spiritual world, the transcendental worlds. This is the real world, where, you know, the transcendental, the world that we can't see, the metaphysical.
Okay.
That's, you know, this where we are now is a matrix. It's an illusion. It's the Maya. This is not real where we are. We're all actors, if you like. We're spiritual beings in physical bodies. That's the reality of what we truly, truly are. So we've believed that we are these bodies. These, you know, I'm this guy, you know, with this face and this body and the skin and this, I live in this house and this is what reality is. But it's not. This is a stage. We are souls that have incarnated into the physical, and we're acting out programs and scripts. You know, it's just part of the system. So when I say metaphysical or transcendental and the physical, everything physical is in the lower realms, and everything metaphysical is in the higher realms. So as we're waking up now, those who are really tapping into the metaphysical or the transcendental, we're tuning into the frequencies of source, of the real world, the spiritual world, the mental, the spiritual. This is where real truth is. This is where real home is. It's very difficult for a lot of people to grasp, particularly because we've been so conditioned to use the left side of the brain, which is the male brain. You know, I'll only believe what I see and what I hear and what I can feel and touch. But, you know, those who are really truth seekers, we need to be trying to balance that with feminine principles, but not in a twisted way like they're trying to do with the whole transgender thing, in a transcendental way, in a spiritual way. So the feminine principles are intuition and your feelings, your gut feeling, your memories, that which you can't touch, but you can feel and you know, a knowing and not a believing, because belief comes from I'm told something or I'm shown something and I choose to believe it because this is what I can see and this is what I can touch. And knowing comes from feeling. I feel this is truth. I feel this is right. I just feel it's right. I feel it's truth. I don't need to be shown anything to confirm it. I feel it. If you see something bad happening, no one needs to tell you that it's a bad thing. That moral compass is within you. You just know, you just feel this is not a good thing. I'm not doing a good thing. Those are the metaphysical, transcendental, feminine aspects that we need to be tapping into. And this is where the whole blood over intent comes in, and the whole sun gazing and veganism and spiritualism. This is where all this comes in, because unless you're open to those things, it's going to be difficult for you to let go of the male aspects or the physical aspects and tap into the transcendental spiritual aspects.
So we're basically saying to really connect back to nature, and absorb from around the natural surroundings, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. Trust
and
learn to trust ourselves. You know, something we've all been taught is not to trust ourselves. We've been conditioned to believe other people, believe the scientists, believe the top researchers on the internet. So even within the flat earth community, there are people who say, well, you know, Eric Dubay says this, or this person says that, or so that must be truth because, you know, he's the guru in this line of research. And not many people trust themselves. Not many people have belief in themselves. You know, so it's the biggest message we need to be sending out to people is we are all gods. Every single one of us. We are all fractals of source. We are all a drop in the ocean of consciousness. All of us, every single being on earth. So if we empower ourselves and you tap into that, you open a whole new field, because you're now tapping into the Akashic records, into the etherical. You're now training your soul to remember things, because you're trusting yourself again. And this is where intuition comes in, and remembering things. So a lot of people say to me, well, you know, how are you getting this information? How are you, you know, what makes you think that you are right? It's because I trust my intuition. I see something, I feel it, I research it, I confirm it, and I feel it, and I say this is truth. And when I send it out to the universe, i.e. I put it on the internet or on Facebook or on YouTube, or I share it with people, and people confirm it and say, do you know what, I recognize this. That's confirmation that, well, it must be true because I'm not the only one who feels this. Someone else is remembering it. Someone else is resonating with it. Someone else is feeling that frequency. So it must be close to the truth. Not 100% truth, but close to the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. It is great when you can feel vibrations of different things. Yeah. The things that you mentioned in that video that I found really interesting was the physical versus the metaphysical, and the two different elements, multi-dimensional, universal, etheric plane, and you also said that the soul is the real us. And you already talked before about this too, but we become so attached to it,
yeah,
that we're actually afraid to let it go.
Yeah.
So.
Having said that, you know, I'm trying to learn to rein myself in, because my feeling is to instantly want to tell everyone and shout to everyone and to wake everyone up. The earth is flat. Everyone shouldn't be eating meat. Become a vegan, please. You know, you know, there's lands being hidden from us. We're being lied to about this, and you want to shout to everyone. But I'm starting to understand that, you know, there's a time and there's a place for everything and for everyone. So my new approach is I'm not going to try and force anything on anyone or scream anything down anyone's throat. I'll release the information, and those who are on the same soul journey as me and who recognize it, we move forward together. So remember when I was saying that there are souls that are ascending and there are souls that are descending. I think there are also soul groups. So for instance, there's a soul group that descended at the same time. So they're in the same soul group, and then maybe a few thousand years, there are other soul groups that descend at the same time again. So everyone has got a soul group. That's what a soul group is. And the same thing with those ascending as well. So there are people that you instantly connect with. We say that I've got chemistry with this person.
Yes.
Within your soul group. So there are people that I speak to, and when I talk about the veganism, they say, yes, absolutely. When I talk about the flat earth, they're like, yeah, makes sense. When we talk about hidden lands, they're like, yeah, makes sense. When we say, let's take a trip to find these lands, yeah, let's do it. We're in the same soul group. We're in the same school, basically.
Yeah, it's as if we were born in clusters and scattered.
Yes. Brilliantly.
When the time has been right, we've started to reconnect. And
yes. Absolutely. Yeah. It's time to find each other. So this is what this flat earth movement is about. It's about soul groups finding one another. So there are some souls who are not meant to be going anywhere. They need to reincarnate a few more times on this part of earth. So they're not interested in the North Pole or the South Pole or other lands. They're just interested in changing things here on earth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they know they're going to die one day, but inside they want to change things because on a deep level, they know they'll be reincarnating back here without knowing it. They know it on a deep level. So they say, I'm not going anywhere. I am going to die, but I just want to change things for future generations because they are the future generation. Then there are some souls who are saying, well, I think my time is done up here. I feel like I need to be moving on somewhere. I don't feel like I belong to this part of earth. So they're being drawn to the center. Like I'm being drawn to these lands up here in the center. And that is where my next reincarnation or my next cycle of life or my next journey is. And there are some people who are descending and they're being drawn to the outside lands. You know, we're going to Mars. I'll explain all that in future videos. You know, they're being drawn to the outer lands because their soul group is descending towards down to these outer lands. And that's their journey. And there's nothing we can do or say to stop them. There's nothing. You can scream and shout. You will not change their minds. No. And I've even said to some people, like, the heavens are different. Now, I used to say that the outer lands are hellish realms. You know, these places are bad, they're evil, and the center is a heavenly realm. But I'm starting to realize that that is not completely the case. That is, I need to correct that. Me, because I'm a spiritual person and I feel like I'm ascending, heaven to me is a garden, is a place where there's no money, where there's no technology, where you connect with the universe, where you're spiritual, where people are meditating, where there's no, you know, we're very much spiritual. That's heaven for me. The outer lands, I think, are very technological. I think if you went there, there'd be, you know, flying saucers and amazing buildings and crazy technology and not much nature. Very technological. You know, I think these are the beings giving us, you know, the beings out here are the beings giving us all this technology.
Right.
So to some people, that's heaven. You know, so I've got friends, if you took them to Eden, they'll think it's hell. Like, we're just going to sit all day and eat fruit and sit in the sun and garden, and this is hell. I can't do this. So for them, that would be hell.
Yeah.
But that's not their journey. For me, going out here would be hell. Would be just technology everywhere. For me, that's hell. You know, it's not something I you know.
So heaven and hell is on a personal level then?
Absolutely. It depends on where you are on your soul journey. So again, I need to correct that. You know, those who are being drawn to the outside world, and you know, I have been saying these are demonic realms. They're not necessarily completely demonic realms. They are to me personally, because that is not my journey, and I'm not drawn to those types of things. But to some people, they might be.
It's an interesting way of looking at it, though, and also it takes the fear out of it, which is you did make a statement earlier, which I think should be the statement of the hangout, which is there's nothing to fear. Nothing to fear.
There is no way to do anything wrong, because we're all God at the end of the day. Even these archons and these beings we say the elite that are evil, believe it or not, they're all part of Source. They're smaller fragments of Source on a soul level, but they're still part of Source. Everything is part of God. Everything. So at the end of the day, there's nothing to fear.
sorry to interrupt you. There's just
That's
somebody knocking at my door.
That's right.
I'll just be one moment.
Okay.
Just the postman.
Oh.
So,
I'm gonna have to leave in about 7 minutes, Zany. Just a heads up.
okay, so for the last 5 minutes then, first of all, I'd like to thank you so much for giving me the time and talking about all this interesting stuff that you've been working on. Thank you for hanging in there with me when we was having technological problems. For anybody that's interested in what Martin's been talking about today, where else can we find you? You've got a YouTube channel, Flat Earth Universe.
Yeah, so I've recently, like I said, I've been working with Santos quite closely and a few other people. We're starting a syncretism group, Flat Earth Syncretism, where we're going to try and explain the universe and consciousness and cycles and, you know, all these hidden lands and the meaning of all of this as best as we can collectively. So we're starting a group or a channel very soon. I'll be releasing stuff once I finish this universe model. I'll do a 7-part series on all of that, everything I've been saying in more detail. I'm on Facebook, Martin Kenny, so I normally post stuff on there. So I'm going to be a bit active. Once I finish this model, I'll be a lot more active. I also suggest you visit Flat Earth Paradise, Devin Maggi, and the other lads who are looking at embarking on this journey next year. I'm not sure anymore about me personally going on this journey next year. I feel like I want to organize a mass exodus in 2019. I personally feel for me, it's not the right time. I think 2019, 2020, I have a feeling is when we're supposed to be going. But that's not to say that those who are planning on going this year or next year, shouldn't do it. But for me personally, so but that's still open. It might happen next year, but I think there's a lot more to try and understand about what's going on. There's information I'll be releasing about beings at the center and beings of the outside. There are a lot of unanswered questions that are making me question what is really going on at the center.
Yeah, I'd really like to know as well. So yeah, keep those videos coming.
Yeah, I will definitely.
Okay, well, definitely. I'll let you go.
Okay.
Thank you for chatting with me, and have a lovely day.
Same to you, Zini. Thank you so much for giving me the time and for this lovely chat. You've been a great host, and hopefully we can do more of these in the future.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh. See you later. Take it easy.
There's Zini. Bye.